Government's not about benefiting a few. If you benefit a few, you can never be a successful government. Otoge is a break from the past. Otoge is the people saying, we want a change. Government has been there for so many years. It has not impacted on the lives of people. In an ideal world, if everything's working, you don't need a government. If there are no problems, you don't need a government. Government is there to solve problems, to improve the lives of the people. And if you've had a political order for, what, 20, 30 years, and the ordinary people have not been impacted, then government has failed. And I think it was that Otoge was a reaction to that failure. Government's not about benefiting a few. If you benefit a few, you can never be a successful government. But when the ordinary man feels the impact of government in their lives, when the ordinary man feels an improvement in their livelihood, then government is functioning. And I think that's what Otoge was reacting to. Otoge is a continuous movement, and like any movement that has a life and that progresses, you start somewhere and then you move on. First of all, I disagree with your premise that a lot of people have deserted. Yes, some people, perhaps, Otoge didn't really mean what everybody else thought, what the people expected Otoge to mean. Maybe the Otoge they were complaining about was that Otoge of the last regime, that they weren't part of it. And this Otoge, they wanted it for themselves. And when it looked as if that wasn't happening, so people probably deserted. So if you were self-serving, if it wasn't the generality that you were thinking of, then it's really hard to see how you could have stayed the course. But there are so many people who have supported the activities of this government. And let me even correct one thing, There is a tendency to personalize, okay? Let's not personalize this government as Alhaji AbdulRazaq. Let's look at it as a government for the people of Kwara. So I may not like AbdulRazaq, but if he's serving the people, that is what he's there for. And I think he has served the people. Those who believe that he has served the people have stayed along in the course. But those who measure service, government service, by what goes into their pocket, then you can quite rightly understand why some of those might have departed. And you really have to ask those people, are they any different from those in the past for which they told Otoge? Are they any different? I have to get a bit historical here. If you recall that I ran in 2011, the only other person other than myself who had challenged the establishment was AbdulRazaq. So it looked to me that at that point in time, that the two of us fighting each other out was probably not going to help the movement. And I felt it was in a good position to take the struggle further. Otoge was not a day's thing. Otoge was not a 2019 thing. It'd been building up. So he was therefore best positioned to actualize, and to give it that push. Because you can be doing things, if you don't cross the line, you haven't really fully achieved. So, and if you ask me, I don't regret doing it. I think it was a very good decision because he has lived up to the expectations, what I expected, what a lot of people expected. As a matter of fact, I think probably even is surprised quite many people because he's ordinarily an unassuming person, quiet, you won't notice him in a room. So a lot of people didn't think that he had what it takes to be a governor. And I dare say he's proved many wrong. Well, first of all, let me say, no matter how well the performance is, there's always room for improvement. And government job is never ever complete. That said, yes, I think there has been very good performance. There have been strides. I talk to people, and the feedback that I get, it comes back to what I said earlier, is that they feel the impact of government. You know, primary health care, water, roads. These are things that they're hard to quantify the benefit, but the benefits are really of a macro economic nature or effect. Because if you have good primary health care, if there is access to medical facilities, then people can thrive. If their living conditions are less onerous, then they can thrive. When they thrive, society thrives, everybody benefits. Road access in a state like Kwara, where a large population is agrarian, you need the roads to move produce into the markets. All of this, you don't. It's hard to quantify the benefit in one day, but they are longer-lasting, sustainable things. And I think these really are things that any government should be looking at. Unfortunately, in Kwara, we've been deprived of this sort of things for so long. To what we had before, what we have now, and then also to now look at what they expect in the future. Before, government was for a few. That myth has been broken, which is no longer perceived as government for a few. Like I said, there's widespread benefit. So people should look at that and ask for more. MaaSeLo, I mean, that is what it is. MaaSeLo. So ask for more of these things. 4 years to me, it's a short time to make very, very long, sustainable development. You lay foundations, you start it off, but you need to nurture it. You need to build it up. Another thing, and this is very important, and we must never underestimate it, is that the way people now look at government is different. Prior to this time, we probably looked at the governor as some demigod somewhere who nobody sees him. He does his own thing. Nobody questions anything. But the mere fact now that you have so-called opposition opposing government, it's a good thing. It's a healthy thing. The mere fact now that you have expectation, the mere fact now that you're seeing your governor as a human being like you, as your brother next door, your uncle, who's come to visit you. The mere fact that you see that, then you start getting a sense of belonging. You then start feeling that this now encourages you to also want to give back, to the state, as opposed to a situation whereby You didn't feel the government was for you. You just felt the government was for someone. So that psyche has changed, and with another 4 years with the way this government has done, with the leadership of the governor, I think we would firmly embed that into our everyday lives, and it can only be good for everyone. AbdulRazaq has been a good governor. I think he has been good for the people of Kwara State. I think he has put Kwara State on the map nationally. I think he has brought respectability to the institutions of government, and I think he has made Kwarans to start to believe in themselves. So as far as I'm concerned, he deserves another 4 years. And I would say anybody who wants Kwara to continue to move on the right trajectory should support him and vote for him for the next 4 years. I, Mohammed Dele Belgore SAN, MaaSeLo.
Ní Kwara o MaaSeLo.